Welcome to this evening, and I'd like to introduce you to Amar Ramesh, the man of the hour, and the reason why we're all here. So I'm just going to ask Amar a few questions. Pretend I don't know you at all. Pretend they don't know you. But can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you came from, why do you get into photography, and why photography?
Wow, that's like 4 hours in 4 minutes. To me. So hi everyone. My name is Amar Ramesh, and I'm a photographer based out of Chennai. Typical Chennai boy. Grew up wanting to be an engineer. Became an engineer. Went to US, did my masters, finished my masters, and started working in software. And 8 years into software, I was in crossroads whether what do I want to do in my life, whether could I do my MBA, go up the corporate ladder, or do something interesting in my life. And the one other thing I knew in life was to take pictures. So I thought, why don't I give a try um, in photography and do something coming back here? And then the 8 years I was working in US, I used to travel a lot. So everywhere I went, I was amazed how the Western countries packaged things. It'll be a simple tree, 80 years old. They'll package it so nicely. I have an audio book. I have a guided tour. I have a ticket and everything. So I thought, why are we not doing this in India? We have so many things in India. We're hardly doing anything about it. So I thought, instead of complaining, I'll be the person. I'll go. I'll do something about it. And I came back here. Started photographing a lot of temples for almost 5 6 months, but nothing was happening. And then eventually went and started a wedding, became super popular, um, and and thereon became to went on to become super famous wedding photographer. We built a company with almost 35 people, shot the who's who of India, and then parallelly started working on culture and heritage, lots of things on culture and heritage. And the last 2 3 years, I've been doing books on a lot of topics revolving around culture and heritage. And today we are here to talk about the latest book, Kolli Kannu, which is the Drishti pennies of Tamil Nadu. Yeah.
And that's the other thing you guys all have to do is buy a copy of any or all books Amar has made. They're spectacular. I'm not teasing him. They are very good books. In fact, he's the only one documenting a lot of these traditional art forms and pieces of heritage that no one else has been doing. In fact, the first time I interacted with you was on your work that you're doing with these jamakalams, right? The Bhavani jamakalams, and I'd seen the videos you made. And so, by the way, Amar is a serial idea man, right? You have video channels. He has his Instagram following. He has his wedding photography. When he says he's super famous, I say he's even more super famous than that. If you have it, if you got married and didn't have Amar doing your wedding photography, then you didn't get married. So, anyway, so coming to today's topic and the reason why my portraits are here at the back. Could you tell us about why? And just quickly tell us about your previous books, right? Because you've done stuff on the Mandapam in Madurai. You're working on other books. You're constantly putting out product. And tell us about the books you published so far, and then let's talk about this particular book that you made on Drishti painting.
So, quite honestly, books were never in my radar. And I was just, photographing multiple things, doing documentaries and all that. And around 2015 and 16, I did a book on a temple in Kanchipura, which is a exquisite temple, lots of amazing sculptures. It's a Pallava temple, 1,200 years old. I had a book on that, and then we just printed 500 copies, but struggled to sell those copies. So I was never planning to do books. Um, but then I one of the topics that I really love is, I don't know how many of you have been to Chettinad in Tamil Nadu. It's an amazing place. If only it was in some other country, they would have made the billions and billions out of it. So I was quite fascinated about Chettinad, and I started doing a lot of documentation about Chettinad. And so Chettinad is an area where there are thousands and thousands of mansions, which are huge mansions, built, like super luxurious way. With our styles from Japan, pillars from Italy, you know, teak from Burma, and it's amazing mansions. So w- I was not able to get access to many of these mansions. I would request people, give me a permission to go shoot the mansion, but there'll be a lot of issues with the owners, a lot of issues with the caretakers, and all that. So I got little irritated and started shooting all the entrances, which I don't have any permission for. I don't need any permissions for. So I started documenting all the entrances. And then after a while, I had this collection of 700, 800 entrances, which are amazing. And then I thought, okay, why can't I just compile this as prints to put it on the wall? So I started putting pictures on the walls, prints on the walls, and I saw they were amazing conversation starters. So in this process, there was a expo happening in Coimbatore for this community, the Nagarata Chettiar community, and I was the only non-Chettiar who was allowed to put a stall there because of my work for the community. So I was like, okay, I'll put the prints, but hardly very few people buy prints. So what should I do? What can I put in the stall? So that's when the idea of compiling that as a book came. And then in like just a month, we compiled that as a book called Mogupu and put it out there. And I was surprised with the response. Like 250 books sold in that stall itself. And then later in 3 months, 1,000 books sold. We were like amazed by the response. So I thought, okay, oh, there is requirement for cultural books. So that's how the journey of book started. And then after Mogapu, I did a book on a mandapam in Madurai, which again was very very random. I was there in Madurai for a documentary work, and then I just took a heritage walk, and one of the stops was this mandapam in just opposite to the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. And also, strangely, we didn't have access to that mandapam, so we were not able to go into the mandapam during the heritage walk. But somehow something was attracting, very attracting from the outside itself, the mandapam. Then I went back to work, and then the end of the day, somebody comes and randomly gives me a book on that mandapam. But that book is full of drawings of mandapam. So I saw those drawings, and then I was like, as a photographer, I want to show the world these statues, these amazing statues. I'm not happy with the drawings alone, so why don't I do a book about it? Also, many of these projects, like even the Kolli Kannu, the Pudumandapam, and all these, I feel there's an energy from the mandapam itself, directing this and getting the book out. Because I never knew about that mandapam before, and then that mandapam was actually encroached for the last 6 generations, almost 200 years, with a lot of stalls. So nobody actually saw the mandapam. Nobody actually saw the statues there. So during COVID, the government had an opportunity to send those traders out, and then it became empty. So I wrote for a permission, and I did the book again. Came out really well, and there was a very big response. And then I kept going back to the subjects that I've been shooting for a long time. So this polygon, some of the pictures in the book are shot from 2010. So I thought, okay, this makes a very good collection. Let me put it into a collection and make the book, and that's how the book came.
Perfect. So what you're saying is you've documented um, images of paintings that you have seen over time, and you kept taking images of the same paintings that you saw, right? So did you have a chance to interact with people who may have painted these, or uh, have you done any work on what these are?
So I've been traveling Tamil Nadu a lot in the last 15 years. And like I said, many of these pictures were during those travels. And when I shot it, I didn't think of making a collection, making a book. I just shot it because it was interesting, right? And then it came to a stage after 13, 14 years, there was a collection of images. And then we thought, okay, let's get into the subject and see what we can do. Then we did a documentary, and that's when we went and saw the artists who were doing this work. That is when we got a chance to interact with them. and it's amazing. See, this is a livelihood for somebody. What we take it for granted, no, it's actually a livelihood for someone. So he earns around 3,000, 4,000 rupees for a painting that he does. And yeah, that's the first time I interacted with an artist.
I'm just going to step in here and give people context, perhaps, on what Drishti Mugam or Drishti Bommai. So many photos of me. Okay, actually, could you first tell us what these are? Can we? We should run through what you've done.
So these are some of the images from the book. See, you can tell a little bit about the Drishti concept itself. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So I don't know. I mean, everybody, I'm sure, in this room knows what this is, right? It's in most of our homes, most of our buildings. It's there in some corner. It's a Drishti Bomme, or these not necessarily aesthetically pleasing images, but they do the job of keeping away the evil eye, right? And in fact, here some of these are entire building sizes, right? So these are actually referred to. So okay, so there is a long history of how we arrived here at these painted faces, but these are called Kirti Mukhas, and Kirti Mukha was another Shiva's son. Shiva's had many sons. Okay, he keeps manifesting these sons, and every time there is some problem, he comes up with one. And this particular Kirti Mukha was born as a human, but his whole purpose was to take away the evil eye, negative forces. So he ate his own body, and we're all left with only the head. Right. So that's why he's headless, or he's only a head, and there is no other form to him. There is no rest of, there is no Drishti man. We don't have a full demon, and he's not a demon technically. He's just warding off evil. So I'll add stories to that, but tell us.
So to add on to that, Kirti Mukhas is something you'll see in the side of the Gopurams. If you see the temples, the temple Gopurams. So we are mostly looking at the front and the back, but on the sides there are these faces like this. So the theory is the inspiration came from those Kirti Mukhas. And also if you see the Prabhavalis, the arches behind God statues also as Kirti Mukhas. So
They're everywhere. In fact, if you guys go back now and start looking at things, temples, old buildings, particularly in Tanjore, in Chettinad, in Pudukkottai, actually all over India, but specifically these places in Tamil Nadu, the architecture itself incorporates the Kirti Mukha. You will always find him at the top of a building. You'll find him at the corners of the gate. You'll find him in the corners of the building. In all temples in the sanctum, they're not Dwarapalakas, by the way. Dwarapalakas do have a part responsibility to keep the evil out when you go into the temple. But the Kirti Mukhas you will find in the shrine itself. He will always be front and center above the god. As he said, the Prabhavallis are the decorative motif around the bronzes that exist, or they are the portal or the door. There's always a Kirti Mukha right in center. Characteristics are big eyes and big teeth, and basically simple concept, right? Anything that has to do with a negative thought or a negative energy is absorbed and focused on him, and not on the main person, the main deity, you, me, whoever it is. That's the concept of Drishti. I think we all know and fundamentally what it is, but that's where
and also it's fascinating. It's not something very specific. Let's something local, right? It's the concept of Drishti itself is very universal, and also very very old, like even older than religion. And it takes different forms across different places, right? In Turkey, it's Nazar, it's the blue eyes. In Mexico, it's masks. Africa, it's masks. So it takes different forms and different cultures, but very specifically in Tamil Nadu, it takes the form of paintings. I don't know. The one of the reason is Tamil Nadu took on very early on printing and painting. I
yes. So, I mean, it's a random tangent if you guys want to know. Around the 1890s, we had enamel paint. First of all, enamel paints are older than you think. They came in from Europe in the 1890s. So your Tanjore Bommes, so the terracottas that were painted, these old Golu Bommes that most of us have or want to have, they were painted in enamel paint. They were chemically produced paints, and they gave vibrant colors. They were bright, and that pigment was used by various artists, and they predominantly came from the Raju community. They were Telugu speaking, settled in Madurai and Tanjavur and Tirunelveli and all these communities. And even today, it is the Rajus who then became the commercial painters, the printmakers, the Sivakasi printmakers, and so on and so forth. But the painters who paint this, they today, the guys who painted these definitely are from various communities, but they came from the signboard painters, right? And signboard painters themselves used to be temple painters. Then they became like theater backdrop painters. Then they became cinema backdrop painters and set painters. And then they started doing the movie posters. So these are definitely apprenticeships. They're guilds. They're people who have this art form passed on from one to the other. But these vibrant colors come in when enamel paints met terracotta artists and potters. And most of these, if you find the 3D version or the portable versions of these Drishti Bommes, they're always made by the local potter in every village. And the local potter makes not just these, but they also make your votive figures, which is if you want to go to your temples and you have a leg problem, eye problem, head problem, INR temple. So they make all these body parts and votives that you go and put down there. Similar concept, similar energy, similar taking care of those things
So
with us.
what I specifically took here is the painting aspect of Drishti. There are many forms, like in you'll have this lemon chilies, you'll have multiple forms that Drishti takes. But I specifically took the painting form because I feel one of the art forms that we are losing very, very fast. Not many people are, hiring somebody and, making them paint these paintings. They're all resorting to this 40 rupees mold that is available on the roads. So we are losing this livelihood. One, we are losing this art form. We are also losing the inspiration from this, right? See, the things that fascinate about this is like, how did these guys know the color theory? How did they understand which color goes well with what and all that? This, and also I've been collecting a lot of the name boards, the old name boards in Tamil Nadu. Again, the typography there, the color combinations there is just amazing. So this specifically is about the painting aspect of this tip.
Understood. And I'll provide you some answers in some depth as to the colors here. So as you said, the signboards, right? In the early 1920s, 30s, most signboards are actually enamel. That was the like our LED signboards of today or backlit signboards of today. Enamel signboards were very popular, and all enamel signboards predominantly had two colors. They were blue with white text, or they were red with white text, right? Now, the reason for that wasn't just the readability from a distance. Of course, white text on a blue background or red in a white background helps you, but they were also the two colors that were commercially cheaper, and they also had lower melting points. So on a practical basis, if they put them on a zinc plate or a copper plate, and they would make these things. So that was one reason why the billboard colors have the colors that they have. They start with the blues and the reds, and then they maintain that pattern. Eventually, yellows and greens came into play. These are all visually more attractive colors, right? From a distance, from a quick passing by sign. But when it comes to these faces, there was at some point of time, you did have a color hierarchy. Before, I mean, now they're kind of scattered. Now they just go with reds and blues and greens and so on. But very specifically, they used to be black. The original ones used to be black, and then they started becoming these oranges and reds. If you notice, can you go back one slide? If you notice that building, the one before this, itself is orange. How many of you have noticed Tamil Nadu specifically has green, orange, purple, and some four other color paints in houses across? Like if you say Jaipur, it's pink, or if you say other cities, they're white, or Dubai is brown. a paint company came up with a concept about 20 years ago. They dumped a whole bunch of like emulsion paint from China and they sold it as Vastu colors. So in Tamil Nadu, these colors came about only because they said Vastu colors. So if it's an orange house, it's a house. If it's green, it's a business. If it's purple, it's something. So I don't know, Tamil Nadu just like swallowed that up because we had color theory coming from things like this, right? So everything has a purpose. Every color has a purpose. Your the most vibrant color in the spectrum is your kunkumam, which is red. That is the most vibrant color. It is the most visible color in the entire spectrum. So it comes from various theories, but this, of course, is most definitely Wolverine from X-Men, and this is Aladdin. But I think that's the beauty of these things. They get cross-inspired by popular culture. And I think these faces have evolved with their connection to popular culture. I will, at a bit of time, talk about why some of them have a patte and what the Vaishnavites do and so on and so forth.
Yeah. See, even with the name boards, right? You can sometimes tell the community where the owner belongs to and all that, with the colors used, with the type of finish that has been used. Even with this, right? Some are patte, some are nama. Even with Mogapu, it's the same.
Yeah, and scorpion on your tongue is so that you don't say anything bad, right? About Periyar or whoever is hiding at the back. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, but talk us through. I'm assuming these are pages on your book.
Yeah, these are pages on my book. See, the one on the left, right? It's very, very abstract. And this is something I shot around 2012. Again, like I said before, it was just capturing all the things that attracts my eyes, and then finally, when I see it now, it becomes an amazing collection.
So, what would one experience if they got your book, which all of you are buying today? But what will you expect?
See, first thing first, these books are made so that there'll be conversations around it. Right? These are things that we are losing, and we're becoming a homogenized community, right? So the first thing is a conversation will start. Second thing is inspiration, right? Like many people are already starting to, some of my aesthetic friends, interior friends are already starting to make merchandise out of this. Right? And the kid, like they put some stickers on the back. The kids are using it very differently. They're putting the stickers on the bags, fridge, cell phones, and all that. See, I want my work, for example, I can tell you, like a few months back, I got a call from Eki from a professor who was doing a research on Thiruvillayadal. Okay, he doesn't even know Tamil language, but he calls and says he wants a particular picture from the book in a close up. So he's doing a research on Thiruvillayadal story and wants that picture, and he saw the book. So the amazing thing about books is they take a travel and reach some amazing places. And a lecturer in Madurai called me up and said, I saw a Pudumandapam that inspired me to do a research on Pudumandapam. And he found a document that the East India Company has sent to Queen Victoria, and they've estimated the Mandapam as 500 crores in 1700s. And another story, I got a call recently from a college and asking me to just come meet the students, and I went there. So they had Mogappu as the start, and then the entire hall is filled with drawings of entrances of Chettinad. So this is what happens, with books. They first you're able to document it. First, you're able to safeguard something that you're losing very, very fast. In fact, couple of houses in the Mogappu book are not there anymore. You can only see that in the book.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think finally, no matter how much chat GPT we use, I think I still go to a library. I need a physical book, and that's where our history remains. So I think it's very important that you're documenting these. Sometime around 2002 or 3, there was a book called Graphic Design or Graphic India or something like that, where there's a lady who came. She was a photographer from America, and she documented all the billboard painters, all the cinema hoardings. Until today, that's the only book we have for all of India that documents billboard painting, things that you see on the highways, any of that. And that's a very large part of our culture, right? It's like how I tell people, cinema created the billboard painters. And then when digital printing came and vinyl and flex came, the cinema industry proudly brought it in first and killed the painter, right? So it's as if that art form came to life for a purpose. It finished its purpose. The medium transferred. The communication is still the same. The message, the need is still there. The marketing is still there. But an entire art form, right, of studios that were producing 50, 60 banners a day because the movie would come out on a Friday, has disappeared. There's an entire art form that disappeared. So I think books are the only place that we actually find them.
And also, I'm seeing an interesting thing happening with the books. Many people order like 10, 20 copies to gift it to people, right? Like
Buy in bulk.
no. See, the many times you're exchanging sweets. Like if you see for Diwali, your table is filled with sweets from people, right? Rather, if it is a piece of jamakalam, a piece of carpet, or a piece of mat that is hand woven, right, will make a huge difference for the community, for the entire community, and for the art form.
Agree.
Right. So in that way, I see a lot of people, like for Diwalis and all that. And sometimes they are actually shipping it directly to the people who they want to gift. So that is something.
There you go. He has online shipping. Can we buy online? We'll complete. Are you on Amazon? Are you on Flipkart? Super. There we go. So anyway, so coming back to your images, can we go through the rest of them?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about? Any of these? Any of your experiences? Did you come across people? Did they ask you, why are you doing this?
So that happens everywhere. Like I shoot a temple, I get like at least 20, 30 people stop me and, ask me questions. Who are you? Why are you doing this? What is this? Who gave you permission and all that, right? And then suddenly I'll see a 11th century pillar. They would bone a hole in the pillar for a gate, and nobody would have even worried about that. So this, like, as a photographer, that is something I constantly see. People will stop you and say, like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? Which media are you coming from? What are you going to do with these pictures and all that?
No, that's very true, because we are extremely wary of outsiders coming in, but our own heritage temples in Tamil Nadu are getting polished granite floors, inscriptions are being sandblasted. If they do it, it's fine. If we go and photograph it, I agree, as I get into trouble in all kinds of temples all the time, right? Because apparently I look like a guy who's going to come in and loot the temple. But yeah, it's true.
Again, in many places, I also saw this incorporated with the, the name of the stores or the text content itself. That is also very interesting. Many places it's also as used as a no smoking sign.
Of course, yeah. No, we used to work with a brand called Chumbak, and they used to make magnets, and so yeah, I think it.
See this?
You might as well. All of us have the all of us have those blue Turkish eyes. For Nazar, I think it's the only emoticon on WhatsApp as well, right? We kind of like, even WhatsApp has figured out that we need to have a Drishti icon there, right? So. Can we see? You keep teasing us with the picture of Kailasanatha temple.
See this, it's just 60 kilometers from here, and hardly many of my friends have not seen this place. Like I keep asking them, even me, right? I the first time I went there was, like after 30, 35 years. It's in Kanchipuram. It's an amazing temple. If you have time, you must go to this temple. And again, I didn't have planned to do a book or anything. I just went there, fell in love with the place. I said, okay, something has to be done. At least 1,000 people through my books should know that a temple like this exists.
Yeah. And about talking about this, and I can give you a small segue story if you guys give me 5 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So you can see all of these yalis, right? We think that they're guardians, but they all are specifically and only for the purpose of Drishti. They have no other purpose in this temple. They are amalgamated animals. They have the horns, they have a lion's face, they have they're up there like a lion, they're like a man. Some of them have trunks. Over time, they have evolved. But there's a fascinating story about this temple and why it needed. Like, in fact, the entire walls of the compound of the temple also have yalis around to keep all the nazar and the evil eye away, because, and it's fascinating. This is Kanchipuram. A lot of you in Chennai would have been to Kailasnatha temple, but the story around it is so fascinating, right? This is the first temple built for Shiva as Kailasnatha, as in Shiva who is from Mount Kailash, right? So we know that the Shiva that this king admired was the Shiva that lives in the Himalayas, and that is how that Shiva comes to Tamil Nadu. And this particular temple is supposed to be a recreation of the shape of Mount Kailash. So it is one side slanted. And this was built in 710 AD. It is only after this that you have the ones in Ellora and Pattadakal, and they slowly move northwards into Karnataka and all the way to Aurangabad eventually. But when the king died, he was left without any heirs, and Aditya Varman, who was the Chalukya king, because Rajasimha went and wiped out Badami. He just like wiped out Badami and came back. So Aditya Varman came back and said, I'm going to come and wipe out Kanchipuram. And then he comes with his army. All the citizens of Kanchipuram run away because they see such a big army coming and they have no king, and they flee. But when the Chalukya king comes here, Pulikesin III or whatever he was called, he sees this temple, and at the entrance of this temple, if you go there even today, is an inscription that says, I have never seen a temple so beautiful that if anybody comes to destroy this temple, I will become your enemy. So the guy who came to wipe out Kanchipuram saw the beauty of this temple. It was so beautiful that he said that he would become the protector of the town that he came to destroy. But the reason is it's filled with evil nazar figures all around. Everything that you see, everything here on top, right at the. So, by the way, these temples, we think of the sanctum as being the temple. We're all stupid. Every single image here is its own shrine. There are 9 forms of Shiva on all sides. Every little image here is a shrine. They would worship there, right? We think that there's inside and outside. This is like, mad go inside, outside is a different thing. So the outside is as important or more important than the inside. You will see for the first time forms of Shiva being created. There were some artists here who came up with these ideas of Shiva, and because they were so beautiful, everywhere you see the evil eye warding mechanism to keep it out. So yes, because
And again, the reason behind doing a book on this temple is, like many people go to Kanchipuram for shopping, silk sarees, and come back, or they just visit the 4 or 5 very popular temples. I worked on this temple for almost 8 months. There were times when I wanted pictures of the temple with people in it, right? So I had to go to the road, pull somebody for the pictures. That's how, deserted this temple is sometimes. Yeah, so
not
that's
so anymore. It's now become an active temple, and in fact, it is getting ruined. They have an active worshipping hour now, and there are queues, and some guy somewhere has put it on the list of the Nadi now. So you have thousands of people thronging this, and it's a whole other battle. But that said, anyway, quick. Is there anything else you want to show us?
one of the other work that I'm doing is also on the folk art forms and the classical and dark art forms. Right? Again, something that has been existing for thousands and thousands of years, but hardly any good picture, good documentation online. So just wanted to show you that. See, again, they are their own makeup artists, they're their own carpenters, they're their own costume designers, tailors, everything. They just come, get ready for like a couple of hours and then perform the entire night. Again, an art form that exists for a very long time, but hardly any good documentation or good media about these. So this is something that I picked up recently. I'm working on a book on, compiling on the performing art forms.
So I'm just going to can we go through these? We have more, and these are all the Terkut dancers.
Yeah. So this is one form which is Madurai Veeran. That See, in fact, he's one of the last guy doing this form. After him, there's no one who will continue this art form. Right.
That's true. We're losing a ton of heritage, right? Very quickly to uh, people not following these. The sons of the sons of the sons don't want to do these things, right? And a lot of our culture is based on transferring of practice and culture. So
Yeah, just the last 10 years, I've seen lots of things, slowly disappearing. Even the very famous chariot festivals, now they don't have people to pull the chariots. The cranes are coming to push them. Many people come to the opening ceremony and then they take pictures and then they leave. Put it in Instagram and then they leave. After the ceremony is done, right, you hardly have any people to push the chariot. So if you see recent pictures in the last few years, there's always cranes pushing the chariots. No.
just before we open up questions to you guys, if you have any, I just want to share one little story, just another piece of useless information. So, the oldest documented evidence of Nazar, evil eye, Kannu, and so on, is when all of us get married in the Hindu tradition. And it's from the Rig Vedas, and they actually recite saying the reason why a woman wears kajal, and I'm sure men wear kajal too, is because, and it's there, it's part of the shloka and the mantra that they say when you get married, is that she should not cast an evil eye upon her husband or husband upon a man. So the very reason that we all wear kajal has to do with that, right? The reason that we wear all kinds of things on our bodies and hands, and we have these little talismans, and we have, every religion, every culture ever known across time has had to deal with negative energies, positive energies, good thoughts, bad thoughts, and how they impact each other, right? My bad thought against somebody is probably a good move for me, and but it affects you. So, and I think today we're all woke enough to understand that we hang out with people with the right energy, the good energy. We're all talking about the energy and the universe. And I think this is all a final, a current version of that. And as I say, just have, good thoughts, good feelings, good actions, and then we're all good. We don't need as much drishti to protect us or harm us. Thank you, guys.